Welcome to the High Impact Healer Podcast, where we empower healers, facilitators, coaches, and leaders to create more impact, make more money, and live a more purposeful life. Let's get into it. Hello, and welcome back, everybody, to the High Impact Healer Podcast. My name is Ben. I am your host, and I'm excited to dive into today's episode. Today, we are going to be diving into the reality around building something meaningful, creating global impact, and being what I consider a high impact healer, or somebody who is creating global impact, helping people with their chosen modality, whether that's breathwork, yoga, meditation, qigong, you name it, chakras, astrology, can be anything. Any holistic practice that is going to help people. We're going to be diving into the reality around this and what this really actually takes, and kind of giving you a roadmap or a blueprint of what to expect whenever we're building something that's really meaningful, something that's really purposeful and purpose-driven. So we're going to dive into that today. But in the meantime, we'll take a quick moment to talk about the sponsor of today's show. And of course, that sponsor is the High Impact Healer Training. Myself and my team have devoted so much time, energy, and love into creating a training that not only supports people in becoming retreat hosts and coaches and eventually powerful and abundant wellness entrepreneurs, but also trauma-informed breathwork facilitators. The High Impact Healer Training is really the one-stop shop from A to Z, everything that you need in order to get your wellness business off the ground and get out there and start helping people in a powerful way. Breathwork is by far the most versatile, practical, and efficient healing modality that I've come across, and so that's why we focus on breathwork as being the primary practice that we share in the High Impact Healer Training at Awaken Breath. So, if you are aspiring to become a retreat host, to become a successful coach, to become a breathwork facilitator, a healer, and to do it in a way that not only helps people all over the world, but in a way that creates abundance and creates some really epic and awesome prosperity so that you can reinvest in your impact-driven business, you can donate to charities, you can enjoy, a nice dinner out with your partner, just live a lifestyle that you choose to live. So you can travel, you name it. I mean, our training is designed to teach you how to create impact and generate abundance from anywhere in the world, and to do it with a full heart, right? Because everybody who comes through our training, the High Impact Healer, is fully rooted in purpose whenever they do this training. It's completely connected to Dharma and destiny. And so if you are feeling that call, or if you're already a facilitator and healer and you want to grow your business, then reach out. Go to awakenedbreath.org/HIH. We have some awesome stuff happening before the end of the year, before the turn of the new year into January. Some great discounts and bonuses and all the things, right? So that we can rock in the new year with efficiency and lots of energy. So go to awakenedbreath.org/HIH. And now let's go ahead and dive into the episode. All right, guys. So here's the thing. I want to talk about success, and I want to talk about success in the wellness space, right? What is oftentimes overlooked or misunderstood is the amount of energy and time and love that goes into creating a business of any kind, right? Most people get really excited about building a business, and this is called uninformed optimism. And this is a stage where you're really excited, but you have no idea how everything's going to work. You haven't gotten to the logistics yet. You haven't gotten into the weeds yet. And you're just pumped up about how much impact you'll create, how much money you'll make, yada, yada, yada. Well, the reality is most people start their journey here and then eventually get into what's called informed pessimism. This is when we get into the weeds, we get into the logistics, and we eventually fall into the valley of despair. Man, this is just like the other projects I tried, and this isn't working either, and so I'm just going to start over and try something again. Excuse me. And as we've discussed in other episodes, the emotional cycle of change is a flow that we often go through as entrepreneurs, where we go in with uninformed optimism. We go into informed pessimism once we get into the weeds and realize how difficult everything is. And then we go into the valley of despair. Most people start over here. But what we do as high impact healers and as people with awareness of this cycle of change is we know that we just have to give it time and consistency and energy and love whenever we're in the informed pessimism or the valley of despair, to eventually break out of that space and come into informed optimism. And informed optimism is whenever we know for sure that we are actually successful, right? We're actually seeing the fruits of our labor and we're receiving the abundance from the work that we've put in. Now, when we're growing a business, there are so many logistics, so many little details, so many things that we oftentimes can overlook. And in the wellness space, one thing is very, very clear to me. And it's something that I had to learn on my own. I had to learn it the hard way. And now it's something that I also teach. And that is, you have to be willing to give without asking anything in return for quite some time. And this is why having a powerful and embodied why behind the work that you're doing is so important. Because if you don't have that why, or what I call your ethos, right? Your values, your purpose, the reason for what you are doing, right? If you don't have this, then you are going to eventually run into some really challenging times. And those challenging times are going to be much more challenging, and they're going to be it's going to be much more likely that you give up if you don't have a strong and powerful why that's backing you up. So for all my healers out there, or aspiring healers, as we already know, the person who you are here to serve is the person who, the low-hanging fruit here, is the person who is going through what you went through a few years ago, and the modality that you can share with them is the modality that you used to overcome whatever you were experiencing. So the common theme here is stress and anxiety. If you had stress and anxiety 3 years ago and used breath work to overcome it, this automatically qualifies you to help people overcome stress and anxiety with breath work. And if this is what you want to do, if this is something that you are willing to go all in on, if it's something that you believe in deeply and you feel a deep call in your heart to help people with this issue, whatever it may be, you have to be willing to help those people online and in person for at least 6 months to a year to maybe even 2 years without expecting anything in return. And what do I mean by this? I'll give you an example. When I first started on Insight Timer, go to insighttimer.com, by the way, if you don't know what Insight Timer is, INSIGHT Timer. It's one of the biggest meditation apps in the world. There's 20 million people there meditating and doing breath work every day. So it's a really epic app. And I put my stuff on there about 4 years ago. I had a little grounding meditation for after plant medicine work. And then I put on dynamic breathwork track and just a few other tracks. And I was getting some feedback. I was getting some 5-star reviews. I saw that it was helping people all over the world, which was really cool. Insight Timer already had an audience, and they just wanted to enjoy the things that I was putting on there. So while I wasn't getting paid anything from Insight Timer, I think I made $50 a month for 2.5 years, 3 years. I was still getting some feedback and seeing that my work was being impactful for others, which was enough for me at the time, because I could also leverage Insight Timer and send somebody my entire catalog of meditations or breathwork experiences all in one place. So this was enough for me at the time. And I continued to put things on Insight Timer, continued to create meditations, breathwork tracks, and put them on Insight Timer, even though I wasn't getting paid. And in reality, I could have been like, this isn't worth it. I'm wasting my time here. This isn't something that is actually paying off. But I kept going. I kept pursuing, I kept putting content on there. And then eventually Insight Timer, after 2 years of being paid $50 a month, right? Insight Timer launched premium memberships. And when they launched premium memberships, this allowed for people to pay $60 a year to be able to do a few extra things in the app. And for all of us who had been on the app for a couple of years, immediately my paycheck went from $60 a month to $1,400 a month, and then to $2,500 a month. And then some months I'd make over $3,000 in passive revenue from the content that I created on Insight Timer years ago. And I had so many different people come to my retreats and my coaching offerings through Insight Timer, and I had no idea that this was going to happen. But the reason why it eventually happened is because I was willing to put value and valuable content and put myself out there and just continue to dump value into this platform, right? Which is exactly what we're doing now on YouTube and with the podcast. I don't expect anything from this podcast. I don't expect anything from YouTube. And I'm going to keep creating content and keep creating value for the podcast and for YouTube until eventually there are the fruits of the labor, right? There will always eventually be fruits of your labor, right? There will always eventually be fruits of your labor. The only thing that is keeping you away from the fruit is once you do the labor, you have to do it enough times and for a long enough period of time in order for the fruit to come. And so the thing I want to really get across here at the point here is you need to have a very powerful reason on why you want to become a wellness entrepreneur, why you want to become a breathwork facilitator, why you want to become successful doing this work and make at least 6 figures a year doing it. Because when you're starting out, things are slow, and you have to be willing to put time, energy, and value into different platforms and into your communities for a long time, right? 6 months to a year, that could be a long time, but it's really not. It's really a short amount of time in the grand scheme of things. Most people overshoot what they can do in a year and undershoot what they can do in a decade. So my question for you is, are you willing to spend the next decade building your wellness business? Are you willing to spend the next 2 years having another job while you get your wellness business off the ground, right? The biggest issue that I see with people who are aspiring entrepreneurs, and especially in the health and wellness space, is that they're not willing to give it enough time. They're not willing to give it enough energy. They're not willing to give it enough love, right? Working for yourself is always going to be better than working for someone else, right? I say always. If you're a true red-blooded entrepreneur, then yeah, that's the case, right? You're never going to want to work for someone else. You're never going to be good at working for someone else, like I wasn't. You have to be all in. You have to have a powerful why. Like, why do you believe in this so deeply that you do it for free? Because if you won't do it for free, you'll start expecting money, needing money. You won't want to work your other job. Maybe you'll quit your other job to go all in, but you're not making money fast enough, and then you go back to ground zero. You go back and start over with something new and go back into uninformed optimism. And then we go into informed pessimism when we realize that building something new is hard, and then the valley of despair, and then we start over again. So if and when we make it to informed pessimism or the valley of despair, the why that we have, right? My why is simple. I fully devoted my life to this work, and I burned the boats. There was a very powerful awakening experience I had that after that I was there was no other choice. I was never able to go back to the old world. And so I burned the ships. And as Tony Robbins says, if you want to take the island, burn the ships. So if you want to take the island, you got to burn the ships. You got to have a strong why. You got to be all in. And that is what's going to change. That's what's going to separate you from the rest of the herd, is you'll be all in. When you hit that valley of despair, you'll be all in. You'll say, fuck, here's the valley of despair. But you know what? I got this. I'm going to keep going. I have awareness that this is supposed to happen, right? This happens to almost every single person. Here we are. Let's keep going. Let's put more time, more love, more energy into this work, more energy into this business, more energy into helping people with expecting nothing in return. And if you do this, my friends, you will be eventually successful. There's no other way to cut it. If you build a body of work and you build a beautiful, valuable platform on Insight Timer, Instagram, YouTube, podcast, wherever. All four, right? LinkedIn, you name it, Twitter. It doesn't matter where you build your body of work, right? If you can diversify, that's obviously best, but it doesn't matter. You will eventually be successful on that platform. You will eventually build trust with people on that platform. You'll build trust with your community when you host your workshops, and you keep hosting workshops, and you keep trying new things, and you keep hosting events, right? You'll eventually build trust in your community. You'll build trust online, and that's whenever you will be able to offer some really great offerings such as retreats and coaching programs, and people will be warmed up to the idea of working with you. But you have to have that powerful why, and you have to have that powerful reason behind what you're doing, and burn the boats and go all in, so that whenever you hit the challenging spots, when you hit those valleys, that you know that you're all in. There's no, oh, I'm out of here. You're already there. You're all in. There's nowhere else to go. And so when you hit that valley of despair, you just keep going. And then eventually you come from that valley to the hill once again, and you're on top of the world and you're crushing it, right? And so there is going to be this flow, not only for people who are just starting their wellness career, but people who have been in this game for a while, right? There's going to be moments where we hit valleys. There's going to be moments where we're on hills. And we have to honor those moments, right? We have to honor the rest that we need. We have to take radical action, aligned action every single day, and then honor the rest that we need at the same time, right? So I just want to get this point across for all of the newbies coming into the space. If you actually want to be successful, then you have to be really grounded in your why. You have to go all in on this work. You might have to have another job for a little while you get your business off the ground. But most importantly, or I should say, and most importantly, you have to be willing to give an exceptional amount of value for a decent amount of time, right? 2 years is what I like to say, because by 2 years, you'll definitely be making some money, right? You have to be willing to do this in order to build something of real value, okay? You have to be willing to do this in order to create an epic legacy over the next 10 and 20 years. It's not a get-rich-quick scheme. This is not get-rich-quick. This is about focusing on your dharma and your destiny and living it out to the fullest. So I hope that supports you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed the episode. In a nutshell, for everybody that's coming into this space and everybody that's in this space that may be in the valley of despair right now, take a moment. Focus on your why, journal on your why, get connected with the reason behind your action in this space, right? The reason behind everything that you're doing right now. Get clear on it, okay? And then ask yourself, how can I go all in? Am I all in right now? Do I want to be all in? And if I do want to be all in and I'm not, how do I get all in, right? How do I burn the boats? And if you don't want to be all in, then pick something else. Plain and simple. Don't waste your time, right? Time is our most precious asset. We never get it back. So, and then lastly, right? Lastly, expect the hills and valleys. As the hills and valleys come, just recognize that this is a part of the journey, right? This is your destiny. This is your dharma. This is you writing your story, right? So know that the hills and valleys are there. They're coming, whether we want them to or not. And when we're in the valley, know that the valley is there to forge you, to help you grow, to help you evolve into the highest caliber healer that you can possibly be, the highest caliber human you can possibly be. So I love you guys. I appreciate you all. If you enjoyed this episode and you got value from it, please share it with a friend, like, comment, all the things. Give it a nice review wherever you're listening to. I really appreciate it, and I would love to connect with you guys in the comments. I really appreciate any time that somebody leaves a comment. I love reading them, and I love engaging with you guys. So sending you all so much love. Hope you have a beautiful rest of your day, and until next time, namaste and be blessed. Peace.